Welcome to the deep dive, where we take your slate of material, all your articles, notes, and research, and give you that indispensable shortcut to being well-informed.
And today, we have a really fascinating stack of sources.
Yeah, this one is interesting. It outlines a leadership framework they're calling the Purpose Compass.
It's a pretty radical set of documents, I have to say, mostly because they challenge the fundamental metrics by which modern leaders measure success.
How so?
Well, it draws this really sharp contrast between what they call conventional, worldly metrics and these enduring purpose-aligned metrics. The framework even gives it a name, Kingdom ROI.
Okay, Kingdom ROI. So our mission today is to really unpack the strategic claim that's under all this, because for you, the listener, you might be at the absolute top of your game. You're hitting every target. You're productive. You're influential. But the sources point out that even at that peak, there's often this feeling of being, I think they say, hollow.
Isolated or busy but directionless.
Yeah. And that feeling, according to this material, it's not some personal failure.
No, it's a strategic blind spot.
Yeah.
It's actually baked into how we define winning.
Mm-hmm.
And the core claim here is that this purpose-aligned leadership isn't just, a nice moral add-on.
Right. It's not just about being a good person.
Not at all. It's that it is strategically superior, that it cultivates fierce loyalty, real resilience, and legacies that just outlast these short-term trends.
What I find really compelling is how they connect this to the business environment right now, especially the digital age. They say the market punishes inauthenticity faster than it rewards speed.
That's such a great line.
It is, isn't it? When a mistake can go viral in an hour, relying on metrics that are all about short-term gain, that's incredibly risky.
Absolutely. Speed is just no defense when your foundation is shaky.
Okay, so let's unpack this core tension, the
Yeah.
leadership dilemma, this idea of achievement versus real alignment.
The dilemma really comes from this relentless pressure for quarterly validation. Leaders are basically incentivized to show visible growth
Every single quarter.
every single quarter. And that, of course, forces them to prioritize what the sources call vanity metrics, things that look great on a dashboard but have very little long-term meaningful impact.
We've all been there. You're chasing clicks, chasing followers.
Chasing market share at any cost.
At any cost. And the material argues that this industrial era obsession with just, scale, efficiency, top-down control, it just doesn't work anymore.
No, in today's relational economy, that old model just creates these brittle organizations that are so easily disrupted.
So if the old dashboard is broken, how does the Purpose Compass suggest we redefine ROI? This is where they bring in that contrast between worldly metrics and this Kingdom ROI.
Yeah, so the worldly metrics are what we all know. They're the default setting, right?
Yeah.
Quarterly profits, social media reach, awards, status, wealth.
Stuff you can count.
The stuff you can count.
Mhm.
It's tangible. It's visible. But the sources remind us it's often fleeting. It's assets you have.
And the alternative, this Kingdom ROI, that sounds a lot harder to quantify. For a lot of listeners, Kingdom might even sound a bit soft or, esoteric.
Sure.
How do the sources make that strategically relevant?
They do it by emphasizing that Kingdom ROI is about metrics you cultivate in other people. It's fundamentally qualitative, relational, and generational.
So it's not what you accumulate, it's what you multiply.
Precisely. Success is measured by lives transformed, teams steadied, and communities uplifted. That's the real bottom line here.
So the strategic advantage is that by focusing on those things, community, stewardship, you're building a foundation that can actually survive market cycles.
Exactly. Profit isn't the sole driver. It's a byproduct of creating genuine value for others. They use this historical lens, looking at figures like Moses or Deborah or Nehemiah. They weren't measured by their stock price. They are measured by their faithfulness to a vision and their relational stewardship. The modern leader's struggle is this dissonance between achievement and purpose. We're chasing the wrong goals.
And the cost of achieving those wrong goals is huge. We mentioned that hollowness, but the sources link it directly to some pretty severe professional consequences.
They do. Misaligned leadership, they say, leads directly to burnout. But they have this really profound definition of burnout.
Oh.
It's not just being tired. It's a clear structural signal of misalignment between your deepest calling and your daily actions.
So that reframes burnout. It's not a personal energy problem, it's an organizational design problem.
100%. If you're constantly doing things that violate your purpose, your energy is just going to drain. And beyond burnout, it leads to ethical compromises.
Because the short-term game becomes the master.
It does. And then finally, relational decay. When leaders are focused only on transactions, people become resources. Trust breaks down, teams fragment.
And if your whole model is extraction, you eventually run out of things to extract. So we need a structural solution. Which brings us to the core of this, the purpose compass framework itself.
The compass is really just a powerful metaphor for inner alignment. The whole point is to give you fixed reference points so you can navigate all this complexity market shifts, new tech, without losing your way.
Without losing your soul or your strategy.
Exactly.
And this system is filtered through what they call 3 interlocking lenses. The first one, and maybe the most important, is calling.
Calling is the bedrock. The sources are pretty insistent that every leader has to define their one-sentence purpose. And this isn't some vague mission statement on a wall.
No.
It's a tight, precise litmus test for every single decision.
So if you're a leader thinking about a big acquisition, you run it through that one sentence.
You have to. It's your internal GPS. It stops mission drift in its tracks. If an opportunity looks great financially, but it violates that one sentence, the compass tells you the answer is no.
It simplifies things down to alignment or misalignment.
That's it.
Okay, the second lens is character or integrity. This is where execution and ethics meet.
And this one is non-negotiable. It's really the strategic heart of the framework. The leader has to constantly ask, does this action reflect integrity, humility, service? They call integrity the bridge between vision and execution.
That's a strong claim. How does integrity actually strategically bridge that gap?
Well, think of it this way. If your vision is the destination on the other side of a canyon, your team is trying to get there. Integrity is the bridge. If that bridge is shaky, if the leader's character is questionable, the team spends all its time worrying about the bridge instead of crossing it.
They're managing the leader's reputation, trying to predict their inconsistencies.
Instead of executing the vision. So integrity cuts out all that organizational drag. It builds trust, which is just superior market performance.
I like that. Integrity as an efficiency measure. It frees up resources that were being wasted on distrust.
And the third lens is impact. This is about looking outward, away from yourself.
Right. The question shifts from what do I get to what life do I cultivate?
Exactly. Will this influence cultivate growth and flourishing in other people? But the focus is on results that last beyond the immediate transaction. So an initiative might make a ton of profit short term.
But if it destroys team morale, it fails the test.
It fails the impact test because it's not cultivating anything, it's extracting.
So you've got the 3 lenses, calling, character, impact. That's the internal filter. But alignment is kind of useless without action. So the sources talk about 4 structural shifts, 4 journeys that move leadership from transactional to transformative.
Right, and these are major shifts in how you operate.
So walk us through the first one, moving from confusion to clarity.
This starts with the leader and really the whole organization, defining that one-sentence purpose statement we talked about. Confusion just creates friction and inaction.
But clarity, even in chaos,
Means everyone knows their true north. And that allows for decentralized decisions because every single person has the compass.
And the second shift is a big one for today's economy, moving from transactional to relational.
This is so critical. It means you stop thinking about sales funnels and start designing relational journeys.
A funnel is about conversion, right? It treats people like a commodity.
A commodity passing through a process. But a journey is designed for connection, for cultivation. The goal isn't just one conversion, it's lifelong, sticky loyalty.
That's a massive mindset change. Stop optimizing for conversion rate, start optimizing for relationship value.
You got it. Okay, the third shift, reactive to strategic. This is about getting out of constant crisis management mode.
And this depends on a tool they call the VIV roadmap. What is VIV?
VIV stands for Vision, Impact, and Values. This roadmap is your formal planning tool to make sure you're building systems that actually outlast trends.
So vision is where you're going.
Impact is how you'll measure success, that Kingdom ROI. And values are your non-negotiable rules of the road. Planning through that filter keeps you anchored, even when you have to adapt.
And finally, the fourth shift, from isolated to multiplicative. This sounds like it's about legacy.
It is. Isolation is where the old model ends up, a leader hoarding control. Multiplicative leadership sees influence as a resource to be invested, not hoarded. The real measure of a leader's success is the other leaders and lives they produce.
So we have the framework, we have the shifts. But how do you actually do this tomorrow? What tools does the Purpose Compass offer to, operationalize this?
So we already mentioned the VIV roadmap for strategy, but they give 2 more tools for day-to-day management.
Okay, let's start with the one that's designed to fight that pull of immediate returns. The purpose-driven scorecard.
This is all about prioritizing impact over impulse. It's your defense against the pressure for short-term gains. Instead of just looking at revenue, this scorecard has you track experiments that deliver real impact, metrics for relational health, and indicators of character consistency.
That seems critical. A leader needs a way to justify saying no to a quick win that compromises the mission.
That's its whole job. It's an accountability tool against your own ambition. And then beyond the tools, the sources really emphasize daily habits, what they call daily alignment.
Ah, the personal discipline piece.
It is. They suggest habits like a morning alignment, a quiet period of reflection. They often describe it as prayerful, to just recalibrate your compass before the day starts.
So you step into the day guided by purpose, not just reacting to emails.
Right. And then during the day, they suggest using decision checkpoints.
What's that?
Before any key choice, a big hire, a product pivot, the leader stops and runs it through a quick filter. The questions are, does this honor God, serve others, strengthen communities?
Okay, let's set aside the specific faith language for a second. What's the strategic value of that set of questions?
The value is in what you could call forced altruism. The first question demands alignment to a higher purpose. The second ensures service over self-interest. And the third guarantees you're creating value beyond just the transaction. It forces the leader to elevate the choice above their own ego or wallet.
That sounds like a solid guardrail. But what about when a company is scaling fast? Growth always strains culture.
It does. Complexity erodes culture unless you actively guard it. So the framework says you have to institutionalize rituals. Make the guardrails part of your governance.
What kind of rituals are we talking about?
Things like structured integrity audits. And these aren't about accounting. They're about checking if your stated values match your actual operations. If service is a value, are your bonuses rewarding service or just aggression?
Ah, I see.
They also recommend strict governance rhythms, regular meetings to ensure that VIV roadmap is being reviewed and upheld, not just sitting in a file somewhere.
So you bake the purpose right into the bureaucracy so it can't be ignored.
You build the guardrails before the car starts speeding up.
Let's circle back to that final shift from isolated to multiplicative leadership. This is where the purpose compass really defines legacy, isn't it?
It's the critical principle. Influence is a resource to invest, not hoard. An isolated leader creates success that just collapses when they leave.
But a multiplicative leader
Ensures sustainable generational impact. Their success is ultimately judged by the leaders and lives they produce, not by their own personal fame.
So practically, what does that investment look like for a busy executive?
They talk about mentor mini cohorts or intentional discipleship. This is about deliberately transferring the cultural DNA, not just skills.
What does that look like in action?
It means taking your top talent and personally modeling those decision checkpoints with them, spending time transferring your values right alongside your vision. The source quotes that classic idea of Paul mentoring Timothy. You entrust it to reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others. It's designed to be recursive.
The ultimate goal, then, is an organization that can run the purpose compass without the founder even being there.
That is the highest measure of lasting significance. It means the legacy is structural, not just personal charisma.
Okay, let's bring this all back to you, the listener. The purpose compass really transforms leadership from being transactional, all about quick wins and vanity metrics, to being truly transformational.
Yeah, where every choice reflects your purpose and every relationship is cultivated with real care.
The legacy you're seeking, it's not going to be measured by a balance sheet that goes up and down or some fleeting award.
It's one of lasting significance. And it's built through faithfulness, through clarity, and through the multiplication of your influence in the lives of other people.
Which means the choice is urgent, because you're building that legacy right now with every small decision you're making today.
And the ultimate test of your leadership really isn't what the world applauds today. It's how faithfully you steward the influence you've been given in light of your purpose.
So this leaves a final provocative thought for you to consider. How are you going to measure your success tomorrow? Will it be by those immediate dashboards and short-term accolades, or will it be by the spiritual, relational, and generational impact of the choices you make today? Because, as these sources suggest, the true inheritance you leave is the values and vision you transfer to your children's children.